Good morning to all the participants of the virtual program on work-life balance organized by the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India in association with Heartfulness. We have with us today's resource person, Jyoti Ganpati ma'am, and our experts, Mr. Deepak Khanduri. And right now we are handing over the session to Mr. Deepak Khanduri for introduction of Jyoti Ganpati ma'am, and thereafter handing over the session to Jyoti Ganpati ma'am for further proceeding.
You're on
to Mr. Deepak Khanduri. You are on mute.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Dr. Samit. We have today with us Ms. Jyoti Ganpati, who is Director of Human Resources with a global multinational organization, holistic well-being enthusiast, and a heartfulness meditation trainer. Jyoti is an experienced HR practitioner and leader with over 2 decades of valuable HR specialist and leadership contributions in the information technology sector. During her career, she has specialized and contributed extensively to the areas of innovation, talent strategy, competency design and development, inclusion and diversity, among other areas. She enjoys her role shaping and leading critical talent programs in the area of leadership development, performance and skills specialization to fuel the business growth. Jyoti is also a practitioner and trainer of heartfulness meditation and volunteers her time with corporations, helping them introduce, integrate, and curate heartfulness meditation practices into the overall well-being programs for leaders and staff. She lives in Bangalore with her husband and daughter. Over to Jyoti.
Thank you so much for the opportunity today, and a big hello. Good morning to everyone who is on the session today. I'm not able to see how many are there, but Deepak, I was just confirming that we could have a interaction on the group chat. Is that correct?
Yeah, towards the end you will get some Q&A, but
Okay.
That's how it's an asynchronous platform, so that's how it is.
Okay, great. So wonderful. I am going to get started with our topic for today. And like I said, it's a privilege to join you all. I do understand that you've been on a journey of well-being, looking at specifically work-life balance, such a crucial topic. And so we'll extend a little more reflection and thinking and discover a little more today about this topic. So I'm going to bring up my screen share, and go through a video. It's like a 7 minutes video. But before I do that, I do want to ask all of you. Let me just first bring my screen share. Okay. 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 So here's my question for you today, as we are going to reflect and watch a video. But before that, if you could put in the chat window, what does balancing work and life, family life, really mean to you? What does that mean to you? And if you are not able to, and Deepak, like you said, maybe we look at the commentary a little later. But I do want everyone to take a moment now just to reflect on this question and pen down your notes. What does balancing work and family life mean to you? Let's just take 30 minutes, 30 seconds to reflect on this question. This is like the most common spoken topic, especially in the professional world, but it adequately and appropriately applies to everyone, even if they don't have like a professional career, but everybody who is, trying to strike that perfect balance between, their passion. It could be about their career. It could be about, what truly matters to them versus what life demands of us. So I'm hoping another few seconds and you are all penning down. What does balancing work and family life really mean to you? And thank you, Dr. Sambit, for getting us started, being able to set goals, combine errands to save time and energy. So that's balance for you. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. So, with that thought in mind and with that little reflection for each of us, what does this truly mean and what are we really seeking? Just keep that aside for a minute and let's all now watch the video. Just do my screen share again so be able to watch the video and the sound. Okay. Just pause me. Give a shout out if you don't get the audio.
Time with our colleagues, then our family. Should we not make our life livelier, more productive, more joyful in work environment? Instead of hating the work and postponing everything that comes across your way. I started first pharmacy in 1984 in Brooklyn, New York. And we used to have a lot of interns who would practice in the pharmacy right after graduation. It was mandatory that interns complete 2,000 hours within a year if they want to get a license to practice. So they used to come to our pharmacy, and often you would see them working slowly, complaining all the time, getting tired too fast, taking longer hours, coming late, going early, skipping days, calling sick. All these things used to happen while they were doing their internship. But as we become familiar towards each other, and when I offer them a permanent job, once they get the license, even while working on a permanent basis, practicing as a pharmacist, this trend would continue. So much of work is there. I'm filling so many prescriptions. I'm doing so much of work, billing, calling insurance, calling doctors, and this complaint would continue. But the day I offered them the ownership of the pharmacy, I make them the partners, their attitude changes all of a sudden. They come early to work, they smile a lot, they don't take long breaks, they go late home. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? What is in it for me? When you do understand what is in it for me, and when you have a sense of belonging to an institution, all your stress will go away. When you think this is mine, ownership is there. You see the difference between a mother looking after her own child and looking after somebody else's child. There's a big difference. Whether I'm working for someone or I'm running someone else's business. Whenever the sense of I'm working for someone and somebody else is benefiting from it, you are shortchanging yourself. You will apply less force, less energy, less enthusiasm in your work. But when we elevate our consciousness and say, whatsoever I do, I must do it perfectly as best as I can with a lot of joy. And if you have grudge, if you have tension, if you have stress and you continue working, what becomes of your health? Instead, when you work joyfully, see what happens. While eating also, When you have a fight with your wife or someone and you're eating, what happens to your mood and your digestion? But when you do eat joyfully, relishing it, happily eating because my wife has cooked for me, she worked hard for it, then you'll smile and your health will also improve. Your emotional health will also skyrocket. Your relationship will also improve. I give you another example from my standpoint as an owner of a business. Whenever we have employees, we have full-timers, we have part-timers, we have extra-timers. Whom do you like the most? Not the person who is working double hours or triple hours, but the person who works with a lot of joy, who keeps smiling, who is happy working. You can trust such people. An employee asks, "Sir, can I have vacation for 2 weeks?" Immediately you say, "Why 2 weeks? Go for a month, enjoy it." Because you are happy in your heart to have such people who are working as a family. Imagine your working hours, 8 to 10 hours you are spending in work environment. 8 hours you sleep. 4 hours you waste in travel. How much time do you have for your children and your spouse? And whatever time you have with your children and spouse, what do you do during that time? You may be sitting with them, but with your phones on, you're watching TV, your children are doing something in their own privacy. Where is the family life? But instead, when everyone wakes up together, meditates together, even if you sit together for 15 minutes, as all family members sits for meditation together, even for 15 minutes, that will unite you in a very, very special way. Similarly, in the evening, you do your prayers, offer your prayers, or you meditate once again in the evening together, and see the kind of atmosphere it can create. So that short time we have with family members, it can be a quality time. But what about the longest time we spend? 8 to 10 hours, sometimes 12 to 14 hours in office. We spend more time with our colleagues than our family. Should we not make our life livelier, more productive, more joyful in work environment? Instead of hating the work and postponing everything that comes across your way?
Okay. So a very quick reflection. Take a moment to reflect on the key things that you heard in this video and what made the most impact to you. Just give a minute for you to think about this. The key takeaways that you have from this particular video. So let's start reflecting and kind of try and summarize collectively a few key takeaways. So firstly, why should we really make our life livelier, more productive, joyful at workplace? Deepak, again, just confirming, are people able to put their comments in the chat? That's an option that kind of works right now, or is it towards the end?
Yeah, whenever any comment appears, it will be transferred here. Dr. Samit will take care of that, or the administration will take care of that.
Okay, thank you so much for confirming. So, what we heard in this video was about, emphasis or just a reflection on why is it important for us to think about making our life more joyful at the workplace. And we'll also talk about many other things that Daji mentioned in the video. But if you think about the maximum waking hours that we actually spend for is at the workplace. So there are very few hours that we would be really spending time with family, but the maximum waking hours, at least from starting from anywhere minimum 8 hours, can go up to like 14 hours on few days, is actually spent at work, which means that, and even if you're working virtually, it's really about working with people who are associated with your professional life. So if that is the case, then wouldn't it be so crucial and important that how you are, what is your state of being during those waking hours, play a major role in your life? One of the surveys from ESNAR talks about that when they did a survey about what causes stress, and if you look at a pie, 100%, 50% of the stress, 50% of the worries that people have is associated with the workplace. There's 25%, which actually is 25 to 30 actually is around, personal life. And the rest is actually about this aspect of striking a balance in the many things that the person or an individual is dealing with at a point in time in life. So if there is an opportunity for us to make our workplace more joyful, then why would we not want to do it? Because it has a huge impact. So in the video, you might have seen there were examples. He said that if you are spending your time joyfully at work, then it will also have a cascading effect in any other piece of work that you would do or any other interaction you would do, which might not be immediately related to your working or a professional setup, right? So it becomes more crucial for us to think about how can I make my life livelier? So before we reflect on how, we should also now think about what are really the barriers, right? So what actually comes in the way of becoming livelier, joyful at workplace? So again, in the video, you saw some references of interns as an example. So most of the time, we associate our happiness or our state of being with others around us. So imagine if you were the supervisor who, in this context of pharmacy, were dealing with interns, then you are constantly driven by the state of being of how interns are operating. So, they're coming late, they're not very happy at the work, they're all the time complaining. And therefore, the exchange of energy is that, you feel so frustrated about having to deal with interns. And it could be like any other employee, right? Where you don't see that they are joyful, but they are really doing it as a compulsion. But you have no choice but to, manage with such people. So for a minute, now reflect about that. If you actually just inverted that whole equation and you thought about how can I make my life more productive and not keep the external factors as a way of barrier. So what comes in the way? Question yourself, what within me is actually coming in the way of my livelier or joyful state at workplace? And like I said, for a minute, I am suggesting that let's keep all the external factors to be something which is out of our circle of influence, which means assume that you don't have a control over the type of people who are coming to you. You don't have the ability to influence the macro and the micro economics that's happening around you. So imagine for a minute that if that was the situation and you just let that go, and you're not really right now dealing with what's external to you, And for a minute, let's just go inward and now think about what within me is actually coming in my way of making my workplace joyful for me. So I'll give you 30 seconds to think about that. What's coming in the way within me? Okay. Okay. It could be your attitude. Absolutely. So this is the most important reflection point, because in every situation, and our aim is that as we are progressing and thinking about, and this whole forum where we are thinking about how do I really strike this work-life balance, the journey truly starts from within. And therefore, as we start reflecting and focusing more on ourselves, we will be much better to respond to these questions that we pose to ourselves. So, as an example, attitude could be, like in the video, Daji said, the attitude that the interns have in the beginning when they join any pharmacy is that they are there just for the sake of earning that 2,000 hours of credit, because that's critical for them to get a license. There's nothing beyond that. So the goal is very clear. I just have to clock the hours. It doesn't matter how. That is the attitude. But as you heard in the video, he said when he made some of the interns as owners of the pharmacy, they completely 360-degree changed. And they suddenly became so caring about the business. They became so focused about the work that they were doing. And in that process of having this ownership attitude, they actually started to love and enjoy the work. And when you love and enjoy the piece of work or any activity that you do, time just flies. And therefore you don't mind being at work for long hours, because it's no longer about, hey, I am slogging 14 hours, but it is about, hey, I am delivering so many things and I absolutely enjoy doing this. And again, like all the examples we are discussing now applies to our personal life as well. If there is someone who is a homemaker, then they are also working 24/7. Something or the other is always happening at home. There's one priority and going on to another one. Imagine if the homemaker is not joyful at their environment. We all know how cascading effect it will have on everybody who is in that home. So it is about this attitude of saying, what am I really doing? For whom is it I'm doing this? And that's where in the video you heard, what's in it for me? What does it mean? It is all about, as individuals, as humans, always we think about, okay, what is it there for me? And it's not selfish. It's a very, very natural response of knowing, how do I belong here? How do I associate with this? So, sometimes in the corporate world, with my 27 years of corporate experience, what's in it me can also be very negative, because we feel, oh, you're thinking about just you. But the whole fundamental aspect of human life is that when we start by being clear about what's in relation to this piece of work or with this company or with this relationship, that's when there is much clarity. So what's in it for me is so much more about clarity and helping people to understand how this makes a difference to them. And when you get that clarity, you are more likely to be productive, livelier, and joyful, because you see things very clearly about what you're doing and what impact you're making. And the why you're doing it in this way is so clear to you. So therefore, again, coming back to ourselves, because in this conversation, we're not thinking about how do I deal with my team members, my co-workers. I'm thinking about, this is a session where we think about ourselves. So I have to be more joyful, I have to find that why. What's in it for me? Okay. at a very early journey in the professional career, it is perfectly okay for my supervisor, my company to define that for me. But as we progress in our professional life, it is important for us to define that and not others, right? Because we know, like you would know the best, what's in it for me when you get associated with a piece of work or in a relationship, right? So I think that's a fundamental takeaway from this, video, that have the clarity of what's in it for me, which can really help me build a productive, joyful state, so that the waking hours, and for some of you, if you are having this perfect balance of being able to spend quality time at work, at family, and pursuing your personal passion as well, then it is all about, are you really being joyful in all these different areas of work, different areas of interaction, right? And then finally, I think the last reflection that I wanted to um, think about now is that if you are very clear now that it is crucial for us to really be happier, because again, we don't need science to prove this, we all know it, because the days that you're happier, you feel healthy, both emotionally, mentally, and physically. But science has proven this in many um, studies and research. And again, thanks to Google, that if you just go and do a ski search on how is happiness related to productivity, you will get umpty amount of journals which is studied, proven, and psychological studies being done. So there's a lot of data out there. But like I always say, we don't need science to tell us that, because we have our own experience. And if you take a moment and think about the last time you were very happy, you would obviously know that you would have felt mentally, physically, and emotionally good. You would be in a good state of mind. So it is crucial that we make our life better, and we all deserve to be happy. Right? So the whole point is that when we are able to do things in a more joyful state, and it doesn't matter just in workplace, but workplace is critical. We cannot ignore it, saying, hey, this is a different part of my life where I operate very differently. And then, when I'm home, I operate differently, because we cannot compartmentalize our life. We are the same individual who is interacting with the world in different parts of the day, right? And also interacting with ourselves when we do our self-reflection. So it is important to recognize that in case you are feeling stressed at the workplace, which is where you spend the maximum hours of your waking hours, you have to take action to make that better, because we are spending a lot of our time there, and it does have a direct impact on our well-being. So what can help? What do we do? So forums like this, I think, is a wonderful opportunity to keep reinforcing, reminding ourselves that we have to continue to focus on areas which are within our circle of influence, which means, can I manage my state of being? What can I do so that I can be more, I can relate myself to the workplace? So in the video, again, there was a mention of, how do you belong to a place? How do you bring this attitude of ownership? That's not easy, because everybody associates with the workplace with something else, because what's in it for me is very different for every individual. But as we are thinking about ourselves, if you can think about what is that for you will make a difference at workplace, then you can work towards it. So to be able to have that clarity and self-awareness in being able to recognize that what's coming in my way, how can I make my life happier, and how can I build the attitude that can truly help me do my best in every situation, is what the purpose of heartfulness practices are. So the key message that I took away from the video, and I hope you all also resonate with it, is that whatsoever I do, I must do it perfectly with a lot of joy. And it is not limited to my workplace, but it is in every field, in every activity that I do. Whether it is an conversation that I have with my child, can I do it in the most perfect manner? Can I be in that moment, listen, just be there for my child? If I'm having a business conversation, can I be there 100% physically and mentally? And can I be focused so that at that moment, I'm able to do the best that I can in that situation? If I'm helping a grieved person, or I am trying to and I want to help somebody, but I don't have the means to it, but what is the best that I can do perfectly in that situation? So if we can start thinking about whatever I am doing, am I doing to the best of my ability? Then there are no regrets, and then there is an opportunity for doing that with perfection. And again, perfection could sometimes be very, very hard and harsh, because then we build a lot of expectations of ourselves. So perfectly truly here means is that to your best ability at that point in time, whatever you were able to do, did you do that? And when you do that, it is a very natural response that you would be in a state of joy, because you know inherently that you've done your best. So with that inspiration of the video today, let's go into our practice. We'll do a short relaxation and then move into a meditation. And again, I truly welcome all your comments, questions that you might have about today's topic, and I'll look for the chat window. And in the meantime, let's get to the practice. Okay. So sit comfortably, and I'm hoping by now you're very familiar, but if there are any new people who are on this call, please do not worry. I'm going to guide you through a relaxation technique, and then we'll follow it up with meditation. And I'll also give you instructions on how we meditate on the heart. Heartfulness practices are very simple practices which are tuned into be able to integrate into our modern life, busy life. And it has very simple instructions. The most important thing in the heartfulness practices is about being open and experimenting with what you go through, the experience that you have while you practice this techniques. So start with an open mind. Tell yourself that I'm going to be open to whatsoever experiences that I might have, any feelings that I might have as I go through this practice. And I'm going to be curious about learning what it has to offer. So with that, let's get started. Please sit comfortably and very gently and softly close your eyes. If you're seated like me on a chair, just make sure that your feet is firmly grounded on the floor. Don't leave it hanging. Or if you choose, you could fold your legs, cross-legged, and sit comfortably. You can place your arms, your hands on your thighs, or gently clasped. Now, take a moment to be mentally aware of your physical presence. Think of the locality, the area you're in right now today, your home, your room where you're seated, and the chair or wherever you're seated. You're seated on a floor. So you're now completely aware of your physical presence where you are. Breathe normally. Sit in a relaxed pose and have your eyes gently closed. Now move inward and bring your attention to your toes. Wriggle them, feel them. Now invite a healing energy from earth to enter your system through your feet to help you relax. You can feel the energy entering your toes, relaxing them, relaxing your feet and your ankles. Feel the energy move up into your calf muscles, gently relaxing them, and your knees. Feel them deeply relaxed. You can now feel the energy in your thighs, moving up into your hip region, your pelvic area. The entire seating area is now being relaxed. You can feel the lower part of your body and your legs and your feet completely relaxed now. Let the energy move into your stomach and your chest, deeply relaxing them. Let the energy move into your lower back. Feel the relaxation there, removing any tightness, stress that might be there. Feel the energy move up into your middle back and your upper back, relaxing your entire back region. Keep the energy in your shoulders, very gently dropping them, relaxing them. Let the energy now move into your arms, relaxing your biceps, elbow, forearm, your palms, and the fingertips. Your arms are now deeply relaxed. Now gently bring your attention to your face. Allow this healing energy to relax all parts of your face. Feel the energy in your chin, relaxing your jaws, lips, nose, eyes, cheeks, ears, and the forehead. Any stress that might be there in your forehead is now removed. Feel the relaxation there. All your facial muscles are now feeling completely relaxed. Feel the energy move up to the crown of your head, relaxing the top of your head and gently moving to the back of your head. The entire head region is now feeling relaxed. Feel the relaxation in your neck muscles. Any tightness that might be there is now removed. Your entire head region and neck muscles are feeling relaxed. Now take a moment to scan your entire body from the top of your head to the tip of your toe. Feel this healing energy permeating into every cell of your body, deeply relaxing you. Now feeling relaxed and in a state of balance. Gently bring your attention to your heart. At the place where you feel your heartbeat, gently rest there. Have an idea. There is source of divine light already existing in your heart, and it is attracting your attention from within. For the next few minutes, we will rest our attention in our heart with this idea. If any other thoughts distract you, be very gentle and remind yourself you are meditating on the source of divine light, which is already in your heart. With that idea, just bring back your attention into the heart and very gently rest there. Immerse yourself in the love and light of your heart. Continue to be with this attention until you hear next from me. So please start meditation. That's all. Keep your eyes closed and gently observe how you're feeling in your heart. What you have now acquired is a state of balance and clarity. And this could be a good moment to think about today's topic of what's in it for me? How can I create more liveliness, joyfulness in my life? What is that one action that I can take? When you feel comfortable, very gently and softly, open your eyes to come back to the present moment. So everyone, so I see there are some questions on the chat window, so I'll try and cover as much as we can. How do you balance your work and family life? How do you combine work and family life? So I think my first slide really had this picture of perfect balance versus integration. So if I have to just share my own understanding of what life has to offer and my professional life of 27 years, I would say that no day is like similar, because every day you're making a choice of what are you prioritizing. So to me, balancing is about integrating my work and my family life. How well do I integrate it so that every day is in that day's work, and end of the day I feel satisfied about having done the right thing. So some days my work prioritized, which means that I really work long hours and it's the demand of the situation. But I make a very conscious choice that that day I do want to give my best at work and I want to accomplish something. And there are days where I prioritize my family because that is the right thing for me at that moment on that day. And in both the situations, I do not regret making those choices because I make those choices with complete clarity of what is important for me on that day. So I think that practice of taking every day as it comes and being able to make the right choices, and of course, heartfulness meditation practice has actually helped me a lot because it helps me with much clarity when I make those decisions that, at this point, and again, it's the yardstick of what is the choice you're making is your own choice, your own yardstick. It's not by the yardstick of my family or my professional colleagues. So I think being able to have that clarity and conviction that you're making the right choices, being guided by, for me, through the heartfulness practices has truly been helpful. So I would suggest that you define what is the balance means to you? And we started this session by that question. Because for everyone, the balance is a very different concept. For some people in my team, for example, for them, they're very happy if one of the days they have a caring, they are actually caring for an elderly at home. So as long as that one day when they have to do something for that, elderly at home, and they want space, they want flexibility to work on those hours, that is balance for them. That gives them the complete satisfaction, and they are fine with any other hours that they want to work. For some others, it's about their children that they can't compromise on when they drop their children and pick up the children. That's like sacrosanct. But any other time, they're flexible to work. So I think there are all these very nuanced things. We should not go by the definition of, what the world believes to be balance, because your life, your context, your requirements, your needs are very different, are very unique. So think about for you, what is the balance? List it down, and then if you're able to do those three things, that's balance for you. Okay. What is the relationship between work and family? I think like in the video, Daji says that you are spending close to 12 hours at workplace, and there are very few waking hours, maybe 4 hours that you might have with your family. So it is all about, are you able to be joyful in those 4 hours with your family? Because your family doesn't require you to be there for 8 hours. Like, they don't need you as much. But whatever few hours that you're spending with them, either doing chores or just being together, watching a, entertaining television show, or just doing homework with your child. It could be any of those activities, or it could just be spending time with your elderly parents. Whatever is that relationship, and for some it could be about being able to spend time with friends. So whatever is that relationship that is very crucial for you, are you able to create quality time? I have a lot of friends who are at attending a marriage, for example, but they are like mentally thinking about work. So and I had this recent example because I was at my cousin's wedding the last week. And there was so much of conversation about how can you just disconnect yourself from work and be in the present moment. So I think it comes back to this idea of whatever you're doing in that moment, can you do it perfectly? And if you are able to do it, then you will be joyful. So I think that's the relationship between the work and family that you have to strike, you have to determine. The conflict between work, family life, and what are the causes? I think for me, it is really about this inability to have clarity about what do you want. If you're very clear that your priority for the day is family or it's the work, then you can set that expectation first with yourself, and therefore don't regret or feel guilty about the choices, but also help everybody around you understand why you're making those choices. So I think first reason for a conflict is unawareness, because a lot of times we are dealing with things and we don't know what is causing us stress. So if you're able to pinpoint and say that, okay, today I'm really feeling upset, or I'm frustrated, I'm irritated, I'm annoyed, or I'm just not able to deal with the situation. But what is the cause? The clarity to what is causing you stress is the starting point. If you get that right, if you're able to bring that clarity to yourself, then the second step will be you can do something about it. You can work towards resolving. But a lot of the times when I have been in conversations with a lot of variety of people, students to professionals to leaders, it is this inability to identify what is causing you stress, which is the cause of conflict. Because once you identify what is causing you stress, then you can go to the root of this is why there's a conflict, because you have a mismatch of expectations, and then you can do something about it. Who is most likely to experience work family conflict? Yeah, I think, like I said, people who don't have clarity or are just not able to strike that clarity. They're just dealing with life. trying to cope, but without much clarity of, what are they wanting to cope with? What do they want to solve for? I think, that probably is like the major starting point. Difference between work-family conflict and family-work conflict. I'm not sure if I understand what's the two scenarios different. Maybe you're saying that, sometimes you're making work a priority and sometimes you're making a family a priority. Dr. Sambit, you could add if I'm getting this question wrong. How do we communicate to both our family and clients without upsetting everyone? Yeah, this is a very, very important aspect of number one, knowing your boundaries and then setting this expectation with everybody around you. I think one of the things that we really fail to do is to set these expectations with our own family members. And I have this open invitation challenge to all of you. Think about the last time you had a discussion at home where you shared with your spouse, with your parent, with your children, whoever that you're living with, and you said, "Hey, this is what I'm dealing with, and this is the help I need from you." At home, that is the last thing that people do. Most families don't do that conversation. So, of course, people will be upset because they don't know what you're expecting. So having a very open dialogue, having an environment where you can share your expectations and also set expectations that, like, for example, Saturday mornings for me, 10 to 12 is something that, I am associated with volunteering. So I tell my family, I live with my parents' husband. So the expectation I have is that up till 9, which is when we have our breakfast together, I say that I'm available, but between 9 to 12, I'm not. And they're perfectly all right because they know, after 12, I'm available to them. So these are the small little things where, you can set expectations. Similarly, use that in the work environment. What is your timings of work? When do you expect to take calls? When are you not okay to take calls? Okay, if you're dealing with a child, maybe you don't want to take calls after 9 p.m. But somebody else is okay to take calls after 9 p.m. because they would finish all their work and get children to sleep. So everybody's context is different. So think about yourself that, what is that you can do to set expectations so that there is lesser conflicts, because conflicts happen because of mismatch of expectations and not having clarity about each other's expectations in the relationship or in the workplace. So with that, I'm also seeing we're up on time. So I'm happy to take any other questions, but I'm hoping we've kind of tried answering most of them. So thank you so much for the opportunity today. Back to you, Dr. Sambit.
Thank you. Thanks to our today's resource person, Jyoti ma'am, for deliberating on that one as various aspects of the family life and the work life and how to balance the family and work life both. So that we are also thankful to our expert, Mr. Deepak Khanduri, for continuous guidance and the mentoring for this program. And we are also thankful to our participants joined in this weekend virtual program on work-life balance. We once again remind you that we are conducting the daily virtual work-life balance program at 8:30 p.m. from Monday to Friday, and weekend virtual program on work-life balance at 9 a.m. on Saturday, at 10:30 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday. So that you have to join all this virtual program on work-life balance. Last but not least, we are thankful to our resource person, Jyoti ma'am, once again, for sparing the valuable time with us for deliberating on the various aspects of work-life balance. Thanks to all. With this, we conclude today's session.